Welcome back to F1 with my uncle, where we are issuing our awards for the Bonehead of the Week, as well as the Pits of Despair for the Australian Grand Prix, as well as taking a brief look at Imola, which is next on the F1 calendar in a little over a week. Keep in mind, though, that these awards are all in good fun, and while we may rag on some drivers or teams, it's all good natured and we mean no ill will. So, without further ado, let's look at the Pits of Despair.
This week's Pits of Despair award, even though there are some notable contenders, has to go to Aston Martin.
Yeah,
This
I,
was
I
a
think it's pretty undeniable.
forgettable weekend for those guys. They have to be down. This was
Yeah.
they didn't finish in the points. Um, Vettel obviously struggled with his car, wound up crashing. It
Yeah.
was just, and
Yeah.
then Lance
I
drew attention to the team for all the wrong reasons.
absolutely. I think we could nominate a couple others like AlphaTauri for subpar qualifying, even though they
Yes.
recovered pretty well. At least Gasly did in the race. We can obviously nominate Red Bull for having another mechanical DNF.
Yeah,
I think we can nominate
I'm sure
Haas
they were
for
depressed.
yeah. I think we can nominate Haas for underperforming pretty much all weekend. But like, there's really no question. I actually have a bunch of bullet points for Aston. Both drivers crashed in free practice 3. Both cars barely got put together for Q1. Stroll decides to not check his mirrors and cause a crash in Q1, even though they
Yep,
just put his car back together. Vettel sets
yep,
one lap and doesn't get out of Q1. He barely sets a time at all. He was like
yeah,
18th or
they barely
something.
got him on track.
And then Vettel goes off the road, skips across the gravel. They were pretty much bringing up the rear. I mean, Stroll ran pretty well throughout most of it, but he then earned himself a 5 place grid penalty, and like Vettel ended up crashing. And it's just everything that could go
Yeah,
wrong went wrong.
yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was horrible. I think it was a three place grid penalty, 5 second penalty.
Yeah,
It was just he was in people's way. He was dangerous. It just who knows? He could have had something going on a personal level or physical or something. It's just a bad weekend for him. But if you're a member, if you're one of the mechanics, if you're the team that leaves the pits at the end of the weekend with your tail furthest between your legs, chances are Aston Martin are in the pits of despair this week
yeah,
in Melbourne,
I
Australia.
definitely
So
agree.
okay.
And then for the Bonehead of the Week award, let me run through the nominees really fast here. We have Sebastian Vettel for driving a scooter on the track in practice and earning himself a €5,000 fine.
Yeah, I think he can afford that
Probably, but Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll for both crashing in free practice 3. Alpine for that hideously ugly livery that they should never have gotten approved.
though. I kind of
It's so bad.
liked
Uh,
it.
Lance Stroll for not using his mirrors and running into Latifi, causing an unnecessary unforced crash. Lance Stroll for pushing Bottas out of the way when he didn't have the corner and forcing Bottas off the road.
Which they call the racing incident.
And Lance Stroll for weaving down the front stretch, again with Bottas, and earning himself a 5 second penalty. So
Yeah.
I think there may be a hint here about who's going to earn the Bonehead of the Week award. And without any further ado, it goes to Lance Stroll for crashing in free practice 3, crashing in Q1, pushing Bottas out of the way when he didn't have the corner, and weaving down the front stretch, earning himself in total a 5 second penalty and a three place grid penalty. So, yeah,
What a bonehead.
what a bonehead.
Wake up, Lance. Don't do this again.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that guy. He's had some good showings in the past, but this was just not his day or his
Yeah.
weekend, I suppose.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I would feel bad if I was a Canadian for the Canadian. You don't
Yeah.
the two Canadian guys don't crash each other out. Take out somebody else from
Yeah.
a different country at least. Don't take out your fellow countrymen. Come on, that's bonehead. Don't do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, then next we have a little bit of a look at Imola, and I will run through that really quickly. Imola was first built back in 1953, but F1 didn't run there until 1981, where it stayed on the F1 calendar every year until 2006 when it eventually was dropped. However, it did make a return back in 2020 to fill in for one of the venues which temporarily pulled out due to the craziness of the 2020 year. However, In 2020, visiting the track was so widely popular, not only with the F1 fans, but with the drivers as well, that it actually has stayed on the calendar since and shows no signs of being removed. It is definitely one of the most storied and iconic circuits in the world. The track runs for a hair over 3 miles, or if you don't use freedom units, it's almost 5 kilometers. It has 19 turns in its current layout, and the racetrack record is currently held by Lewis Hamilton with a 115.484, which he set back in 2020. Last year, if you remember, Max started third on the grid, but went on to win, where Lewis started on pole, but after a rare error from him, he ended up in the wall. However, he did manage to pull it together and work his way back up to finish second. The podium was rounded off by Lando Norris in third and followed by both Ferraris. Looking forward to the race in a little over 1 week's time, I'd expect to see Ferrari's form continue, though I am hopeful that Red Bull will be able to sort out their gremlins and that both cars will at least finish the race and hopefully challenge for the win, or at least make it exciting up at the front again. But that's it from us. We have several more videos planned between now and then. So until next time, thanks for watching and take care of yourselves.